Hey YouTube, welcome back to the channel. Today's video we're going to go over the rule of fives. I'm going to bring you 5 mods in 3 different categories. 5 fun mods, 5 necessary mods, and 5 boring mods. So stay tuned, hopefully you guys will enjoy the video. Alright, so we'll start off with the 5 necessary mods, and these mods are the mods, I've done every single mod that I'm going to talk about with the exception of like 1 or 2, and there's a reason behind those, and we'll get into that when we cross that bridge, right? So 5 necessary mods that we're going to talk about. The first one I have, these are in no particular order, is deleting and tuning your truck. If you're just going to be towing with it, just a daily driver, if you want to keep it stock, there's nothing wrong with that, but deleting the emissions off of these trucks and actually putting some quality tuning into these trucks wakes this truck up tremendously. It makes it drive like a completely different beast. My first Ram that I had, 2500 at 2013, I drove it around in the city, or not even the city, like a little small country town that I was in, and my commute to work was 1.1 miles. I had to drive that truck to Cheyenne, Wyoming a few times, and that was 110 miles each way. And that's really the only time I actually saw the full potential of the Cummins. I did have a lift, I had a 6-inch lift and 37s on it, the same kind of setup I have now. But once I drove to trade that truck in down in Denver, I actually started romping on it and getting on it a little bit because I was trading it in. The truck only had like 3,200 miles, but man, it was a beast already. So once you delete and tune your truck, it is a completely different animal. And if you guys watch my older video, I said building your truck in 3 stages. Your first stage would be deleting and tuning it, and then obviously another stage would be doing like a second-hand swap. They're completely different animals when you do those 2 mods, and then God forbid you put fuel and a CP3 behind it, it's going to wake it up even more. So deleting and tunes, that is the very first one I have on my necessary mod list. The second necessary mod I have is A.R.E head studs. Whether it's the 425s or the 2000s, whatever you want to call them, or it's the 625s. Getting that clamping force on your head is going to be a peace of mind and insurance for you when you're getting on this truck, driving this truck, if you're towing with it, putting those high pressures in those, or getting those high cylinder pressures, it's going to give you an extra peace of mind. A head gasket is not fun to replace on these things, and it is a lot of money if you're not doing it yourself, and still a lot of money if you're just doing it yourself and doing the manual labor. I'll come back to this one I have written down. Next thing I'm going to talk about is your coolant bypass. It's a necessary mod, but it's not really a cool mod. It's a pain in the butt to install. I did one when I did my 2nd-gen swap, and it hung me up for about a day and a half. And the reason it hung me up was because I wanted to make sure I 100% knew what I was doing before I actually was going to like give the extra force to knock out that freeze plug on the back of the motor. It's scary because it's hard to get in there, but at the same time I was worried about knocking that freeze plug into the motor to where I had to possibly pull the motor and get that freeze plug yanked out of there because there's no room back there to work, period. So it's a good mod because it distributes the coolant back there to the cylinders 5 and 6, and it just equalizes the cooling, I guess you could say. It's a freaking awesome mod, and I'll tell you right now, my temperatures rarely ever get over 185 degrees. It'll get up to about 200 when I'm romping on it, but the normal city driving, just normal driving, nothing crazy, I probably sit around 185. So it was like that before I did the gears because of the whole RPMs and everything, thinking about getting the motor up. It doesn't really, or up there in the high RPMs, it doesn't really change anything, but the coolant bypass just keeps your temperatures way down. I'm going to go to the one I skipped earlier was transmission work. So a lot of people believe in if it ain't broke, don't fix it. And I'm one of those believers to a point, but at the same time you got to understand what you have. Transmission work in these trucks are the Achilles heels of this truck. The trucks they make now are freaking awesome quality. They're great trucks. They last for a while. The motors are obviously second to none. That's the reason I got the truck. But the transmission is the weak point. We all know that. So, you know, you can start small with like a valve body or a separator plate to boost up your line pressures to help get more clamping force on those clutches. Or you can just drive it like a normal, reasonably human and be fine. I'm not sitting here racing stoplight to stoplight. I know I have some power on the truck, right? I know I have some, my little right foot can just sit there and romp on that gas, and I can hope and pray that my transmission holds up if I want to race somebody, or I can just drive it like a truck and not try to be Fast and the Furious and race everybody and then blow up my trans and then blame everybody else but myself that my trans is jacked up. So with that being said, if you want to take preventative measures, just like you do with the head studs, get your trans worked on. There's different stages that people sell, whether it's stage 1, stage 2, stage 3, and there's different horsepower ratings that they say that goes with that, or just drive it normally until eventually it does give you problems and then build it. I say on my channel all the time, this is what I'm gonna do with my trans, this is what I'm gonna do with my trans. I'm doing so much research like all the time about transmission stuff, whether I wanna do a valve body, a pump, and then a torque converter and a flex plate, or do I just want to do a valve body for right now, or do I want to do say a Rev Max 850 down the line, just a full transmission, or do I want to do a Randy's transmission, or do I want to do a 48 swap? There's a lot of things go through my mind when it comes to transmissions, and I think that's why I really haven't pulled the trigger on anything in particular just yet, because I don't want to spend $300 to say $1,000 on a valve body or a valve body separator plate just for the simple fact that I may wash that later. So next thing, gears. I'm going to talk about gears. If you don't have big tires, if you have bigger tires, gears in these trucks are a freaking lifesaver. It's a necessary mod because it makes your truck drive like I guess a stock configured truck, if that makes any sense. If you have, I have 37s, I had 342s in there before I did my gear swap, and I'll tell you right now, driving that truck was like slow to get on the gas, and then, or not the gas, but the throttle, and then the next thing you know, it's shifting, it's upshifting, it's downshifting, upshifting, it's just everywhere. On the highway, it's nice because you're in 6th gear at like 1100 RPM and you're just freaking cruising with 37s, but at the same time, in town, it's just up, down, up, down, up, down, 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 up, up, and then if you want to romp on it, she may shift down, 2 gears. These 430 gears from Nitto that I have in the truck now are freaking awesome. They are definitely a lot more friendlier in the city. On the highway, my RPMs are a little higher, but when you're doing 80 miles an hour in a 8,000 pound truck, it's kind of expected. So yeah, the last mod that I'm going to talk about for necessary mods was the gears. So those are my 5 necessary mods when it comes to these trucks, and I'll just cover them one real quick. Delete and tuning, A.R.E head studs, trans work, coolant bypass, and gears if you have bigger tires. Alright everyone, so the next topic I'm going to cover are 5 fun mods. And like I said earlier, these are in no particular order. So we'll start with the first one, suspension. So there's many things you can do. You can level the truck, you can just do a reverse level where you bring the back end down. You could do a 6-inch BDS lift like I got, or you could do a custom 10.5-inch lift. It's all up to you and what do you want to do with the truck and how you plan on using the truck. You could spend a couple $100 just to do a level. You could spend no money if you have say a 3500 with leaf springs. You want to do a reverse level, that costs you nothing. It's just reconfiguring the leaf springs. Or you can spend up to 10, 20, whatever thousand amount dollars you want to spend if you want to do say a 12-inch Kelderman airbag kit. It's all up to you and your budget. So wheels and tires, those are definitely a huge fun mod. It's definitely going to give your truck its own personality. A stock truck, everybody has one off the dealer lot. They all look very similar, if not the same. Oh man, my Corona. No, I'm just kidding. But wheels and tires definitely set the truck and give it the stance and the look that you're going after. It's to me, that's one of the hardest things to pick for your truck when it comes to wheels and tires. It's just because you don't know the offsets, the width, how big you want to go, what kind of tires you want to go with. That is a huge decision with making your truck, giving it its own personality and setting it apart. So it definitely can make or break a truck. Another fun mod we'll talk about is lighting, right? It's a somewhat of an expensive mod because you could do the Morimoto taillights or Recon taillights. You're not just going to stop there, right? You're probably going to look at other things like, okay, let me look at my fog lights now. Next thing you know, you're looking at your headlights. Like, I have water in my driver's side headlight right now, and hopefully it doesn't short out the running board in there, because I really don't want to spend $1,400 on Morimoto headlights. But if I have to get new headlights, I might just have to go that route just to set it all apart, match them all up. So lighting is obviously a fun one. There's many things that it comes with, whether it's rock lights. People do the freaking starlight looking optical stuff on their headliner if that's something you want to do. But lighting is definitely a fun mod, not necessarily a necessary mod. a second gen swap. This is by far the most favorite thing I've done to my truck since I've gotten it. It's a beast of a job if you're just a normal at-home mechanic type of guy, not doing it for, say, a profession. It's definitely labor intensive, and it's to me it's fun. Taking off the old crap sucks, but putting the new stuff on is fun. Just seeing it go back together and transform. So second gen swap definitely wakes up the truck, gives it a lot more airflow. Maybe not a quick as a quick throttle response as you like, depending on your turbo and your fuel side. It's all up to how you build it, or what options you choose. But the second gen swap is by far my favorite and is definitely a fun mod. So last thing I'm going to talk about for fun mods will be the fuel side of things, whether it's the injectors or the CP3. And the reason I say that's the fun side, because if you already have a second gen swap and tuning and all that stuff, you put fuel to this monster and it's just going to be a completely different beast, and it's going to go crazy. So I covered the fun mods pretty quickly, but these are all things that I have done to my truck with the exception of the fuel. All right, if you guys have stuck with me this long, I appreciate you guys watching. Please get over there, subscribe, comment, like. I know a lot of people that do watch these videos are not subscribers, so if that's you, please go over there and subscribe for me and hit that like button. The last category we're gonna cover are 5 boring mods, and this is just my opinion. These are mods that either don't have like I guess that warm and fuzzy happy feeling like you would do, say, with a second gen swap or a bigger turbo or things like that. So 5 boring mods we'll start off with straight up is gears. I did it because to me it was a necessary evil. I had to do it because I had 430 gears, I had tuning and all this other stuff. My transmission was taking a beating just from normal everyday driving. Not from me like beating on it, but you think about the bigger tires and I got more power, the transmission's kind of in the middle, and it's like, ah, crap. So the gears definitely relieve some stress on the transmission. Next thing I'll talk about is transmission work. I covered that earlier in a necessary mod, but to me it's kind of a boring mod, and I just haven't really touched it yet. So it's a preventative mods that you have to do to actually hold the power of your truck, to put that power to the ground without, you know, breaking a input shaft or smoking your clutches or your 5th and 6th overdrive clutches or your reverse sprag. There's tons of things that are wrong with these transmissions if you beat them up that will give out. So transmission is definitely, to me, a boring mod, but it's something that is necessary if you want to play with it a little bit. The next one, you guys may not agree with me, but to me it's my opinion, but lift pump, right? Everybody preaches about these lift pumps and how they, you know, for the filtration and getting the aeration out of there. I know I need to get one. Everybody says I need to get one, but I just haven't got one yet. It's a boring mod to me, and that's one of the reasons I haven't got it. So I did the fuel filter delete off of the block, and actually did a diesel fuel filter kit up next to the fuel tank where my filter and water separator are next to each other. So I put that back there. That's really the only mod I've done to my fuel system. I have a fuel pressure gauge, and my fuel pressure is constant 10 to 15 psi. So I talked to Cam over at Everything Diesel and asked what his PSI was, and his is maybe around 18 to 20, he said. So you're not gaining much, but I know the filtration side of things are a heck of a lot better with those. And I'm gonna get there, I promise. So it's just, to me, it's a boring mod, and it's the reason I haven't done it yet. So I'll talk about the next one is an EGR delete. In order to delete these trucks, you don't need to pull your EGR components. When you tune it, you do need to do an exhaust portion, right? To delete your DPF, your diesel particulate filter, you do need to replace that with either a straight pipe or just a full exhaust system. I recommend just doing a full exhaust system. You can just do the DPF if you want to save a few bucks. But the EGR delete is not necessary. When I deleted and tuned my truck, I just installed the exhaust and the tunes and rode it around for probably about a couple weeks, and then I pulled the EGR components off. EGR components get turned off when you do your tuning, and it turns it into a stock appearing truck on the top, but everything past that is obviously tuned, and you are now a more free-flowing exhaust. And the last thing I'll cover is bumpers. Bumpers is a boring mod to me. It may not be to you, but it is to me. I have a 4th gen, so I could do a flog bumper or a road armor bumper or whatever the case may be, but that is a lot of weight compared to a stock bumper. And I know my truck's not a race truck by any means, but Some of those things can look pretty gaudy, some of them look really good, but it's a boring mod to me because it's just a piece of body work that I could spend my money elsewhere. Just my opinion. Like I said, everybody's got them, but those are the 5 boring mods that I choose. Gears, transmission work, lift pump, EGR delete, and bumpers. Well guys, that's going to be it for today's video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. That's just going to be the, I have 3 different categories with a list of 5 of fun mods, necessary mods, and boring mods. So let me know what you guys think. I know most of you guys that are out there watching this are obviously interested in this stuff. So let me know your opinions, what you guys have done. What if you do disagree with me, let me know. So I'm sure there's going to be some disagreements out there. We're all human, so we can all talk about it. But let me know what your guys' opinions are. Once again, I do appreciate you guys watching. Appreciate all your guys' support. If you haven't already, get down there, subscribe, hit your notification bell, and please give me a thumbs up and a like. So once again, appreciate you guys watching. Until the next time, we'll see you guys on the next upload. See you later.